have a marker, you know, you just measure it by hand.
Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Slip-ons, these shoes? Pretty slick. Those huge slip-ons.
Selfie for $20 less.
Never gotta bend over again, just huge slip-ons.
Conduct a roll call.
6 p.m. Sorry. Mr. Douglas?
Here.
Mr. Duquette?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Irwin?
Here.
Mr. Randall?
Present, thank you.
Secretary, confidential secretary of the board and deputy super, or deputy clerk, Ms. Barber and Mr. Ryan.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Mel. We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is now open. Happy to invite the audience to make any comments if they wish. Thank you for being here, John.
Yeah. Can I just ask you or someone to summarize the highlights of the budget? You know,
We can do that.
the overall things that you think people would be most interested in?
Well, basically, as we discussed, there's very little change from the preliminary budget as it was the last meeting, with the exception of a benefits correction for amounting to $520, which did not affect the property tax levy. It, in fact, was offset from, correct me if I'm wrong, Pam, but I believe it was offset from fund balance.
I'm sorry, what?
It was offset from the fund balance?
Yes.
Other than that, the tax rates are as they were displayed and are now printed on what we're referring to as the 2025 final budget tax rate. And again, the tax rates are broken down by general highway, sewer, three different sewer, four different sewer categories, one of which is zero, and water. And they range from 1.5%, 1.55% for the general budget, 1.87 for the highway budget. That's up a little bit from last year, 24. Town budget, I should point out, is actually down a few points. Sewer budget is down slightly from 2.07 to 1.968. Valcor, for those people that are interested, is also likewise down from 0.33 to 0.250. And then the commercial rate for Valcor is actually up. It goes from 0.33 to 0.70. Town water is down from 1.12 to actually 1.067 for 25 as proposed. Although it's not our budget jurisdiction, the Peru Fire District budget, which was 1.055 for 2024, is now 0.999. Generally speaking, tax rates are all down a little bit. That has to do really with two factors. One is the fact that the assessed valuation of our tax base has grown by some $56 million in round numbers. From 2024 to 25, that has a favorable impact on tax rates, as I think it's explained in letters of every tax rate payer. Yes, it's notified of the assessment increase. At the same time, the board is striving to stay underneath the 2% tax cap, which we're doing. I think we're under by still about $3,000 from what we could otherwise assess, and that likewise has an effect of holding down the tax tax rate that folks might expect to pay. The current year, the budgets are, the general budget's actually just about even with 2000. I'm sorry, it's actually up a little bit from 2024, 1.944 million to $2,060,421. The highway budget actually is where we had concerns this year. The highway department is facing unusual expenses in the form of road culverts and bridges which are deteriorating and which have all been assessed and there's various levels of priority on them, but they have to be addressed, 3 or 4 of them immediately, and the board is actually engaging the engineers and professionals that are needed to be able to get the permits to make the changes and replace the culverts that are all wearing out, rusting out. So, having said that, the highway budget itself, which for 2024 was $1,956,000, is now up slightly to $1,997,000. Like I said, I think 2025 is going to be a year where all of us that are responsible for making decisions on behalf of the township here are going to be putting in a lot of time and concern over, because so far at least, there's no grant funding available to help us with those costs. So that leaves us with and the highway department already has a relatively low fund balance, so that leaves us with the choice of having to finance the cost of those and pay for that over several years and to take that time. Those are the big points I think that the board has been concerned with. We are looking at, obviously we're looking at water and sewer projects in each one of those departments involving major upgrades, in the case of the wastewater plant, major upgrade of facilities down there. We received the welcome news that we've received some additional grant funding help there in the form of roughly $11 million in round numbers toward the cost of that project, and the board in the coming months will be working with the engineers who designed a proposed plant to see what we come out on that. Again, there will be most likely a need for the town to borrow funding to help close the gap on whatever the ultimate plan is that's approved. Likewise, in the water department, there's an upgrade of facilities there in the neighborhood of estimated neighborhood of $9.4 million. Again, we received good news that that project has received grant funding not to exceed $5 million. So
Excellent.
a little more than half, but ideally half of the cost. And again, the same thing will happen there. The engineers on that project will be looking at the funding, we'll be looking at our finances and trying to determine our way forward. These are projects that are in both cases are mandated by the state of New York, and we're grateful for the state's financial support. I'm just hoping there's some more out there someplace that can help to ease the burden that the township will have to endure. I might point out that we're not the only town in New York State that's facing the same situations. Other municipalities are being required to provide updates and upgrades to their facilities to, I think, ensure the public that either the water we're drinking is absolutely safe, and that the water that we're discharging back into our waterways is as purified and clean as we can make it based upon current technology. John, do you have any specific other questions?
And the board is still foregoing any raise and the town clerk, is that correct? Town clerk, tax collector?
Nothing has changed on that.
Nothing. So there's no raises for the board or the town?
The
Or my
raises.
deputies,
Yeah.
Pardon me?
or my deputies.
Or your deputy, okay. And the employee, all the other employees are getting a 3%
We're-
across the board?
We have 3% in the budget for them, which is fairly consistent with the consumer price index and where that's been in recent months. It's definitely lower than last year. I think they, no, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were around 8%.
It's 11% over 3 years.
So, looking at where they are, this is a one-year rate, so, I can't predict what we'll be doing a year from now with the same project.
That's about all I've got, I guess.
Any other comments from folks?
No, it just, another year coming, we all know what's coming at us. Hopefully some of the costs of trucks and whatnot are gonna level off some, become a little more reliable.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very difficult, just looking ahead and trying to kind of eyeball what next year's budget might have in it. We know we're gonna have increased debt service from these projects. The cost of goods just doesn't seem to be coming down anywhere. As we're shopping around this year, we're looking for a couple of vehicles for the water department. And these are ordinary vehicles. These are not exceptional heavy-duty pieces of equipment.
Right.
But prices are a challenge. So I think in future years, the town should probably be prepared for the fact that staying under the tax cap, which Peru has done successfully for a number of years, is very doubtful that we'll be able to.
And the key, I guess, is to get more development going in Peru.
The town of Peru needs growth, yes, and we've got capacity as we're upgrading the infrastructure facilities in the town at a pretty rapid rate right at the moment, and all of that obviously would benefit from any new homes that we can have built in the township or new business that we can maybe attract here. Certainly, as we've been discussing this as a council, we recognize that we need growth. We need more people to help share the burden here. There's some attractive features to Peru. We have a great school system here. We have a lovely community. It has historically been somewhat of a bedroom community to the town of Plattsburgh, even since the air base closed. And that does continue, but just at a rate, we need that pace to pick up a little bit. And one of the things that the council is looking at is reviewing various land holdings that we've got and trying to figure out whether we need to keep those or we should get them back on the market and get them back on the tax base. None of those are going to be incremental winners by themselves, but all taken together. Hopefully we can get there.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
Anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Eric? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Anything else to come before us? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. I should point out that just for the benefit of everybody, that the final adoption of the budget is scheduled for a special meeting on November 14th, which is following a calendar of recommended dates that the Association of Towns puts together for us. We pretty much follow that right to the letter this year. So in the meantime, between this meeting being adjourned and then the board does have opportunities to make any further adjustments that it might see fit to make in the budget.
Perfect.
Other than that, I move for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.